Doohan, you saved my ass.
Not yet.
Huh?
Most of the heat-resistant tiles have peeled off. The temperature's rising.
The landing wheels aren't retracting.
Yeah? And the number 2 nozzle won't work either.
What? Are you for real? We can't live
Oh, well.
without them. I knew I should
Whatever
have come
happens,
here. I'm only 18.
happens.
I don't want to die yet. I've never even been with a woman. Somebody help!
I think it's time we blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
I'm not gonna lie with you, this is probably one of my favorite animes to date. I mean, for starters, it's not too short, not too long like you know what, but I will say it could have been a bit longer. It's music, voice acting, for both sub and dub by the way, I don't discriminate, and overall animation is just beautiful. The clip that I'm about to show you right now is from the movie, not the show, but just, I want to give you an example of how fluid this animation is.
Oh, no, 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 no.
Nigga, did you know that I can see you?
We.
Tell me what you're doing here.
Let's flip a coin. Heads I tell you, tails we go out on a date.
Are you aiming at? What are you aiming at?
On guard.
Bro, are we serious? Forgive me for saying your name wrong, but Shinichiro Watanabe? You made a banger with this one. Let me say the first thing that I noticed about this anime is just how surreal the characters feel despite the setting being so fictional. What I mean by that is just all the characters each have their past highlighted, helping us get a feel for, you know, the character. The story in turn strongly shapes the way they act in the show. I mean, take Faye Valentine for example.
Of suffering, of destruction. You lost everything.
And before I say this, someone let her know she was mad annoying. I won't say it to her face because she was like a top shooter. She probably blow my head apart, but let's be real, bro. She was selling in like every episode. Anyway, in session 15 titled My Funny Valentine, we learned that she was cryogenically frozen for like 50 years. I mean, gang, like she missed half a century sleeping. Anyway, once she woke up, she's immediately hit with this truth that she's in a futuristic advanced world with spaceships and space travel, and that she was in debt to the people who preserved her, and she had no memory of herself, her friends, family, or really anything. Also, let me add that once she finds someone who she thinks she can trust, let me tell you, this brother fakes his death and basically betrays her by adding his debt onto hers.
Why are all the numbers there in red?
Those are all his debts, but they say debt is an asset.
You have got to be kidding!
Like, bro, how could you even trust somebody in the future? Your first experience living in this random world that you woke up in was getting told you're millions in debt, and the first person that you trust uses you. I mean, Faye Valentine's an interesting character, don't get me wrong. She could be seen as a problem more than helping the show, but as the show progresses, you really start to see why she acts this way. I mean, she spent a majority of her life in the 2070s with the idea of only survival on her mind, even if it affects others. From what I told you, she doesn't just do this because it's convenient. Okay, I mean, maybe it's part of it. I mean, it's probably most of it, but like, she lives this way because it's just, you know, what she has to do. It's really the only way she knows how to live, and she's good at it. She spent her whole time on this new life running and surviving, so it makes sense why all her actions in the future are just running and surviving. You know, it's just what she has to do. But let's be real here, this could be said about almost all the characters in the show. Jet.
Hold up. Who is this nigga?
Edward, Ein. Pretty much every bounty in each episode has a highlighted past that justifies their future actions. But let's be real, this ain't rocket science. The past shaping your reasoning for future actions is a very human trait. Let me give you an example. Let's say I'm born into a rich family. I grew up all my life with luxuries, sheltered away from bad things. Obviously, when something bad happens in life, I'm gonna be cooked because I won't have any experience in handling hard things. Catch my drift. What I'm trying to say is something Watanabe does so well is creating intricate stories to go along with these characters. This helps as it gives the watchers pieces of the story to connect their present, which overall helps with giving an understanding to why a character does the things they do. You know, it gives the characters layers. Each lower layer explaining why a character is the way they are through, you know, past information that's given to us in the show, until we get to the top layer, which presents their current actions, and then you really get to see, oh, this is why they do that.
It'd be too hard to see you, so I'm leaving without saying goodbye. Please, please do not look for me. Free at last.
She sucked all the antifreeze from the cooling system. It'll be offline for at least half a day.
After this stunt, we're not gonna look for, right?
She emptied out the safe, too.
Finally.
Oh man, Jet, I can't believe it. Yeah, it's you all right. Top of your head's looking a little sparse, but other than that, same old dog.
Let me give you another example. Session 10, titled Ganymede LG. You see how Jet's past actions lead up to his ultimate actions. When the crew travels back to Jet's world of Ganymede to cash in on a bounty, he ends up meeting up with his old girlfriend Elise to talk to her about her well-being, why he received the watch from her, and why she left so suddenly. To sum this up for you, she pretty much dubs him, saying she forgot why she even did all that, and he tells Jet that you just gotta keep on living, you know, like life keeps moving on and he's just stuck in the past.
And I've forgotten about it. Time never stands still. I've gotta go. Bye, Jet. More than anything.
We also learned that she's closing her shop with Finn due to a lack of customers, and although Jet feels sympathetic, he ends up leaving as she assures him that her new man will help her. To make a long story short, Elise's boyfriend is actually a bounty that ends up escaping with Elise because Jet and Spike are notified of his bounty, and Jet gives himself the solo task, kicking Spike off the mission of capturing his old girl and her boyfriend Rent Salonis. I'm not gonna lie, she downgraded Elise. I don't know what you're doing. You gotta find yourself a new man, bro, but you downgraded. I'm not gonna lie with you. Anyway, when Jet does this, Spike questions Jet, having the feeling that he might let her go due to his history with Elise. But Jet assures Spike that once he sinks his teeth in, he never lets go. Before his decision to capture Elise and Rent alone, we learned that from his old friend Donnelly that he's in the Intersolar System Police. Or at least he was in that before he became a bounty hunter. We also learned from Donnelly that while Jet was on the ISSP, he was given the name Black Dog.
The guy they called the Black Dog because once you got your teeth into something, you never let go of it.
With that being said, the Black Dog mentality is something that Jet has lived with the majority of his life. It shaped the way he goes about his bounties, and it mainly just separates his feelings from the job. But because of the mentality he has built up in his past, he ends up not giving in and captures both Elise and Rent, even when Elise begs to let them go. The emotions Jet is going through, he stays true to his character and lets his Black Dog mentality take over and shape his present action.
You got knocked the fuck out!
Are you want something to man? Huh? No.
Yo, it's me from the future. Okay, I don't know how I didn't realize this the first time, but towards the end of this episode, Elise actually gives a reason to why she left Jet in the first place, which I don't know why she wouldn't tell him in the beginning, but whatever. Let's hear the reason.
Just how you were back then. You decided everything. In the end, you were always right. When I was there with you, I never had to do anything for myself. All I had to do was to hang on to your arm like a child without a care in the world. I wanted to live my own life, make my own decisions, even if they were terrible mistakes.
Oh no. Wait. Do y'all hear this, bro? Okay. I understand her to some certain degree that you deserve to be free in life. And if you don't want to be controlled by someone, that's completely fine. But either her or Rent, it was probably Brent, messed with the loan shark, presumably probably to help their financial situation or save the restaurant, I don't know. But matter of fact is, they dealt with the loan shark, got in trouble with the loan shark, Rent killed the loan shark, and they thought they could evade it. And she's over here trying to persuade Jet that, oh my goodness, I just want to be free and I just want to make my own mistakes, my little oopsies. I want to do my little mistakes. And it's like, bro, this is this is more than just a mistake, bro. This is, you're going to jail. You're going to be an accomplice. And she doesn't even understand that, fam. And it's like, bro, at that point, just get her out of here, bro. You sold. Oh yeah, and also the gun thing, like Rent was probably so upset that she didn't shoot Jet, like he was probably like, damn, bro, like, you got the clear shot and everything. Why you not shooting this man? Like, he's literally walking towards you, giving you a free shot. And you fumbling right now. Like, you really can't trust her with nothing, bro. Like, come on.
There's no beef in here. So you wouldn't really call it bell peppers and beef, now would you?
Whatever happens, the quote that strikes me as extremely interesting. Before I even watched the show, I often saw these low anime edits with this green haired dude saying it, and I always thought it was weird how nonchalant he was with his life and how he took such a passive outlook on his life. Like, there was nothing he could do to change it. Yeah, I know that was a dumb initial thought because that green haired dude was Spike, and Spike is really nothing like this. Before I watched the show, to me, whatever happens, it felt like an excuse by the character to continue doing nothing about his situation. See, I told you I was slow in the head. What was I even thinking? Anyway, once I watched this show, I began to realize, and I also began to think for once in my life, bro, look at who's saying this quote. Spike Spiegel, out of all people. Like, he's the opposite of not taking action. He's never letting anything slide, and he's always standing on business. Tommy also relates this quote. He's in a situation where he can't do anything about it. Like, what can bro do in this situation but wait for his fate to arrive? Stupid.
They're not.
Stupidity aside, watching the show and seeing Spike's story along with his actions really made the quote seem so real when he says it. The quote at first seems contradictory to his character, but as the story progresses, we uncover more pieces of Spike's past that describes why he acts like this. To uncover Spike's connection to whatever happens, let's go back to his past. Now, Spike Spiegel's been a lone wolf all his life, and it shaped many of his future actions. For example, even when he's on a team, he would, take off randomly doing solo missions. Often when he goes on these solo missions, like take for example, Session 20, Period LeFou, we see how Spike really has no regard for his life, and he's usually determined to accomplish something even if it means he has to risk death multiple times.
Maybe this is the one I won't come back from, the end. Just playing with your head.
Let's go even further back. Now, not much is known of Spike as a kid, but it's assumed that he was by his lonely most of his childhood. He was living his life as a street thug on Mars apparently until he joined the Red Dragon criminal syndicate. Being alone most of his life shaped him into a loner, then definitely joining a criminal organization must account for why he's so fearless and careless life, and probably why he's adopted that whatever happens mindset. But there is someone in Spike's life that made him rethink that quote, even if it was just for a short period of time, and that was Julia. See, once Spike met Julia, well, maybe I should let him describe what Julia meant to him.
When I was younger, I wasn't afraid of anything. I didn't have the slightest fear of dying, no reason for it. I thought that if I die, that's fine with me anytime at all. But then I met a certain woman and it changed. I started to think that I wanted to survive. For the first time, the idea of death began to scare me. It was on my mind. I never felt that kind of feeling. Almost paralyzed.
And? Where is she now?
She faded off somewhere.
Now, Julia really helped him and gave him a fear of death. But once Julia died, next to him, I'm not gonna lie, that was crazy. His reason for being fearful of death was gone. And now he had gone back to whatever happens, happens. If that makes sense. Okay, let me tie it together. Towards the end of the show, session 26 titled Real Folk Blues, Spike leaves to fight Vicious, and his reasoning is,
look at my eyes, Faye. One of them is a fake because I lost it in an accident. Since then, I've been seeing the past in one eye and the present in the other. So I thought I could only see patches of reality, never the whole picture.
Don't tell me things like that. You never told me anything about yourself. So don't tell me now.
I felt like I was watching a dream I'd never wake up from. Before I knew it, the dream was all over.
What are you going to do? Just throw your life away like it was nothing?
I'm not going there to die. I'm going to find out if I'm really alive. I have to do it, Faye.
Although Spike often survives due to ridiculous plot armor, we see how in the end, and this is gonna be a spoiler for y'all, spoiler alert, Spike's fearless decision making is what gets him killed. But that's Spike, man. That's why the quote makes so much sense for him to say. Despite Jet and Faye questioning his reasoning for going to fight Vicious, Spike's mind is set on accomplishing one goal, and that is taking care of his past, which inclines him to stop Vicious from leading the syndicate. Spike lived his life with this mindset, you know, setting things straight, setting things that matter to him straight, and, you know, avenging the ones that he loved, especially Julia. You know, he never excuses himself from anything he views as fixable. Because let's be honest, he did not have to go and fight Vicious, bro. Like, I know Vicious would have had a crazy rule in his syndicate, but Spike could have ran away with his crew. But Julia's death, his only reason for fearing life really, was Julia. So his past came back to haunt him pretty much, and ultimately it resulted in him deciding to go on this practical suicide mission in order to finish off unfinished business. With Julia in his life, things may have been a little bit different, but because of Julia's death, he really just didn't care, and he was like, man, I'm gonna do this. If I die, I die.
Julia is dead. Let's finish it now. As you wish.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown.
Sorry, a little bit of a rant, but Spike's character is just too crazy. Although he succeeds in his mission, his death was something that kind of shocked me. I mean, his determination is insane, and his ability to just not let things slide at all times is just crazy. But that does bring me into my final point, carrying the weight of your past actions. When Spike successfully kills Vicious, ending his short reign as leader of the syndicate, Spike dies, and we're left with the words, "You're gonna carry that weight." Now, this quote has many meanings, but this is my video, so I'm going to tell you what it means to me. Go on Reddit if you want to see other meanings of this. Now, in the show, there are many decisions that, you know, have bared both a positive and negative consequence. Like, look at Faye Valentine, for example. She survived so far on running, gambling, stealing, and being an active bounty hunter. But usually she finds herself at the short end of the stick. And there's times where she probably should have died from what she's doing, and there's also times where she gets herself into major trouble, if not for a crew and a little bit of plot armor. Like, come on guys, it's an anime, you know, you can't kill her off, you know, she survives. But there's also times where she ends up getting what she wants, but at the end of the day, she has to bear the good and the bad consequences of all of her actions. Look at Jet. His past decision is to never let go of his mission, may help him in capturing bounty, but it could also lead to his death, as we've seen in the show many times. Take Session 21 for example. He almost dies going arm's length trying to find his old friend. I mean, you gotta let that black dog mentality die at some point, man. Okay, on second thought, I mean, he was doing it for the man's daughter, so like, you know, I gotta give him some points for that, but he almost gets the crew killed, so I mean, take that as what you will. Let me get back to what I was saying. Spike's lived a part of his life in the criminal syndicate and probably didn't saw many things. I mean, you don't get an artificial eye from just laying around. Now, when Spike was with his crew capturing bounties, we were also getting knowledge of his past from time to time, telling us about his connection with Vicious, Juliet, and the Syndicate. There are many actions in the past that we learn that still weigh on Spike, but he doesn't fully tackle them until the end. Despite these past actions being associating with the Syndicate, but coming back as negative consequences. These negative consequences included the death of Julia, Vicious going into power, and the organized hits that were set on both Spike and Jet, almost killing Jet. Although at the end he could have ran away, he truly knew that his past had caught up with him, and the only viable way that he saw truly facing it was stopping Vicious. Once he had succeeded, the weight became heavier, and he couldn't survive to carry the result of his actions. So because of Spike's death, the weight of his actions could only be carried by the people who associated with them, or the people who were affected by his actions. See, Spike's crazy desire also entails that he could not live with Vicious's actions that he pursued in order to become leader of the Syndicate. He couldn't carry that weight, and in turn he felt that he had to do something about it. But at the end of the day, someone will always carry the weight of the actions. There will always be someone who's affected by the actions of someone else. Sometimes the actions that you do may just affect you, and you'll have to carry that. The only way to truly escape carrying the weight of your own actions, or the actions of others that affect you, is by dying. That's the only way you can really escape it. The only time the weight is fully lifted off is when you die, because that is truly when you have no more weight. To be honest, I just yapped a whole lot, and some of it may not stick, but that's just truly what all this really means to me. You know, the point of just the past affecting your future actions. Truly all what it means to me in this show. And I truly believe that Cowboy Bebop has a never-ending story. I mean, as the watcher, we still have so much knowledge based on each character's past actions, thoughts, and we even have some of their story. The layers, as I described before, make it almost easy to connect their past to their future. So I believe at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, there's always going to be someone to carry the weight of a person's actions, because there'll always be someone who's affected by it, whether it be positive or negative. Think of the people who would have been affected if Vicious led and ruled over the Syndicate. A lot of people. But because Spike killed them, positively, they're not going to be affected, and that is a positive effect. Now, negatively, Spike is now dead, and what does that mean for the bounty hunting crew? What does that mean for Faye Valentine and Jet? I mean, they just lost a vital crew member who helped them with capturing bounties and getting money. I mean, what's gonna happen to them? We don't know. Well, actually, we do have some information, like I described earlier, from their past that can help us kind of make an assumption on, you know, where they may end up. I mean, we could assume for Faye Valentine, just based on her past, that she's probably gonna run away and find some other way to survive. Whether that be maybe selling her body, I don't know, probably doing some more gambling, maybe just doing her own thing, I don't know. But we can assume that maybe she might just run off. For Jet, I'm gonna assume here, just based off his black dog mentality, that he might stay in the business and probably just never let this thing go. You know, probably just stay and just continue to capture bounties. Or maybe he could just go back to the ISSP and just continue his mentality over there. But I feel like he's not going to let this thing go. And look at Edward and I. They're probably going to be completely unaffected by what just happened. I mean, there's the positive and negative effect, and there's just the in-between. I mean, this is kind of cool because, you know, Watanabe, he's kind of led this up to interpretation. You know, he's given us information of all the characters past, and we kind of just get to put them together and kind of just assume where they're going to go off next based on what just happened. I think Watanabe also wanted the quota of you're going to carry that weight to apply to the audience, because think about it, at the end of the day, there's always going to be someone to carry that weight. And what better than the audience, because they'll always be able to continue and extrapolate the story. Maybe I'm just chatting, I don't know. Anyway, I think I'm done here. I don't know if any of this is going to really make sense to all of y'all, but I'm just saying what I believe in. You know, this show is really interesting, and I hope y'all like the show like y'all like my video. Anyway, this is probably gonna be my first video, I won't lie with you, but you know, I'll make more in the future. You know, if you want to see more, you know, show some love, I'm gonna get this edited out, and you know, this took me a long time, but you know, hopefully the other processes, you know, all the other videos to be quicker. Yeah, hope y'all like this. Peace.